Okay, with us with Hannah Augustine. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
It's bastardized German, Augenstine.
Augenstine. And
Yeah.
priority one is the TV pilot. It's a procedural. Is it fair to call it a procedural TV pilot?
Yeah, it's a procedural drama.
Procedural drama. So I saw that I see a U.S. Navy hat on you. If people are watching this on video, are you a Navy veteran?
I am active duty actually. I'm stationed in Sicily currently.
You're in Sicily right now. How's Sicily doing?
Yes. It's fantastic. I mean, it's a wonderful place to be at. It's not
Lots of
not too bad.
volcanoes, right?
Edna, yeah.
Yeah, I was there. I was in Palermo probably 25 years ago. Last time I was in, I think it was last time
Okay,
I was in
okay.
Italy. Yeah, I had a fantastic time there. So,
Yeah, I'm over by Catania. I'm currently living up in the Achis.
so how long have you been in, so you're still in service, but you're writing screenplays while you're doing service.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love it. And I'm on shore duty right now, so I've got the time
Yeah.
to
Are you
dedicate.
allowed to tell us what you're doing there?
I'm just at a munitions command here. I'm a gunner's mate, so I work with ordnance and weapon systems.
Okay. But everything's going okay in Italy right now?
Oh yeah, no complaints. I mean, we kind of have regular days here.
Well,
It's a shore duty billet, so it ain't too crazy.
my last name's Toffolo. That's where my people come from. So.
My mom's side's Battistella, so they're up north.
Okay, so you're obviously you under like so the it's a procedural, it's based in Indianapolis. Are you from Indianapolis?
I am born and raised in Indiana.
Okay. So does that you have to be a basketball fan to live in Indiana?
I mean, it's called Hoosier hysteria for a
Yeah,
reason. You kind of have to be a basketball fan if you grew up there.
yeah,
But yeah, I was born and raised in Indiana, and so it's kind of a underserved city, I feel like, in the entertainment industry. There's
yeah.
been a show or two here and there, but nothing that's really focused on the city itself.
Yeah. And your football team, as we're doing this podcast, lost a heartbreaking game. I don't know if you're able to
Oh yeah.
well do you what you're able to watch that in Sicily?
I do. I am actually a Bears fan. My
Oh,
my
wow,
mom's
okay.
side's from Chicago, so
Gotcha. Yeah. It's close by, right?
yeah.
Okay. So well that team your team's doing amazing this year, better
Yeah,
than
right.
since 1985, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Second best season. Okay, okay. So tell us about this procedural. So we've seen this before on television. Procedural shows.
Right.
Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, the Chicago series, right? What makes
Right.
this different from the other ones?
So, what separates Priority One, the biggest thing that separates this show from any of the other procedurals that are on air right now, is the ability that it has to. We've got three departments that we're seeing at the exact same time, right? Where most procedural dramas, like Chicago Fire or
Yeah,
Chicago PD or 911 or The
yeah,
Rookie, they all focus on one department essentially.
yeah,
Whereas the Priority One gives an equal one-third to dispatch and to Station 9 and to IMPD. So it's not focusing in on one team so much as the system as a whole and how all of these departments work together in order to deal with emergencies or deal with crimes.
yeah. So you're kind of using a mid-sized city as an analogy. Like you're kind of in the middle of America, but it's a big city. Kind of using that as an analogy of what takes place, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it is this whole show is about, average people. I chose middle of America not just because I'm from Indiana and it's an underserved city, but also because it is the heartland. I mean, you've got all these shows based in LA or Chicago or New York, but nothing that's really based where, you're going to see these everyday people and really dig into what life is really like there. Priority One is a show set in Indianapolis because we can see a farming accident and then 5 minutes later you've got a massive pileup on I-70. And that's completely realistic to take a look at, and that could happen.
The
Um,
trickle effect of of
Yeah,
society, right? When there's a problem that happens, and then people got to take care of it. So, like for example, there's a 911 dispatch, and say it's a fire, for example. Like not just the
right.
fire department goes to the fire. Like there's other, like you said,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
You've got police responding for crowd control. You've got dispatch on the phones taking calls and organizing who's going to be going there. And then you have your firefighters who are there taking care of the fire. And in
yeah,
addition to that, you're going to see later on where they're going to take these people, whether they're injured or it's smoke inhalation or whatever,
yeah.
they go to Methodist or whatever, and they have to be treated. So that's another area in that system is medical.
Gotcha. And then, but then you have to get into the characters. Like you have to establish certain characters and like and I
Right.
guess they intersect.
Right.
And, yeah,
And how I ended up doing that for priority one is that we have three co-equal protagonists, right?
yeah,
So we have a lieutenant within the police department, and that is our protagonist within the police department that we follow. We have the captain of Station 9, and that's who we follow through fire. And then we have a senior dispatcher that we follow through dispatch. And those are kind of our three pinnacle pillar characters, really. And so while we're able to follow them and see their not just their professional lives but their personal lives and how they deal with the trauma and they all have hearts for pursuing justice, but they all have very different ideas about what that means and
yeah.
different ways of doing it.
And there's different emotions too, because everybody kind of deals with things differently,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Oh yeah, and I mean it's based on life experience and what they did previously to that. I mean, our the Lieutenant Anderson is a career cop, whereas Captain Monroe in the fire department was a sailor for 30 years prior to, or 20 years prior to that. She was in the Navy. And then she joined the fire department.
how'd
And
she
so
become
those
captain so quick then?
it's 10 years. She's been in the fire department for 10 years now.
Okay,
Um, but it's that different life experience and what they've both seen that
yeah,
shapes how they react to things
sure,
and
yeah.
what emotions come into the play. And that really kind of helps move the story along.
Yeah. Well, you see that in like my own personal life where I know people who are firefighters and police officers and people who work in as nurses or doctors. And a
Right.
lot of them kind of like I have a friend who doesn't know how to deal. And it basically he has issues, right? Because like I don't think he should have been a cop because he doesn't have that emotional. I'm just
Right.
saying like, but you know,
No. Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? But then there's people who are able to just like compartmentalize. I don't know if it's emotional intelligence or I don't know if it's narcissism, maybe a combination of both. But basically, it's just like they don't really, it doesn't really affect them as much, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's not even just that. It's how you grew up also shapes that. Your
Like nature
personality
versus
shapes
nature,
that.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's it takes a certain personality to kind of do this job and to be able to do it long term. And as somebody who has lived through high stress situations and high stakes environments, and I've worked with people and mentored them or clashed with them even these different personalities, and so I've kind of seen what works and what is not going to work. And
Sure.
usually those people that I've worked with and I'm like, they're not going to make it very long, end up getting out. And it's
Yeah.
not a bad thing. It's just not for them.
Yeah, because not everybody is supposed to be in the military. One would assume, I
Yeah. And it's the same thing with being a first
yeah,
responder. It
exactly.
not everybody is meant to do that. And that's okay. But you just got to find something that you are meant to do.
Yeah. But yeah, because I guess like you can choose it, but I guess like when say 80 years ago, I'm going to the front lines because that's I'm a male and that's my job, right? But basically
Right.
meaning that like I'm talking about 80, that's how it was 80 years ago. But like when you're
Yeah.
now you can choose more. You can choose to be in the military or kind of get out if it's not for you, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
How long you been there in it for?
7 years now. I've been active duty for 7 years.
And do you think you're going to be one or like is how did you get into screenwriting? How did screenwriting come to you?
I've been writing for 11 years now. I started out in novels and then I went into stage plays, and I've always kind of had a soft spot for television. That was kind of the far off Hollywood dream that didn't really seem realistic as to an
Sure.
18-year-old from
Yeah.
nowhere, Indiana.
Well, now look
So
at
I
you. You're in
joined,
Sicily. Isn't that
yeah,
amazing?
right.
Yeah.
But I ended up joining the Navy, and I was on a combat deployment last year, and there was a couple times where we weren't sure we were going to make it back. And that kind of, those instances really make you think about what it is you want out of
Sure.
life. And for me, it was a lot about regret and what I would regret not doing. And ultimately, it came down to I'm going to regret it if I don't go for this. If I don't pursue it and I don't try, I'm going to regret not doing it for the rest of my life.
And
And so
this
that
was
kind of,
last year.
yeah, this was last year.
So okay, so that's your origin story then. So how long, like, so when did you like you went through this and then you're like, okay, like basically I got to live my life, so I'm going to regret this. So I'm going to start writing. So what's the next stage? When did you start putting pen to paper again? Like how many days later?
Uh, Back in July, I started writing. Priority One was the first script, the first screenplay I ever wrote.
So it's like
And I
it's been
started writing
16
that.
months, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was PCSing because I was stationed in Mayport, so I had to go through PCSing in school and all of that. And I finally had the time to sit down and do it back in July. And so I started then, and I haven't stopped since. I've got a feature film that I just finished a second draft on, and another pilot that I'm done with, and I'm still rolling.
Tell a normie what a PCSing means.
PCSing is so it's basically going from one duty station to the next, right?
Okay.
It's permanent change of station. So I got orders to go to Sicily, and so therefore I packed up my bags and I transferred from Mayport, Florida to Sicily.
How long, like, do you know how long you're going to be there for?
2 years. I'm here till February of 27, and then I have orders to Chicago for boot camp. I'm gonna go train recruits for a couple years.
You see, you got your life ahead of you. You know where you're going, where you're going.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So do you guys have Thanksgiving? Because you guys just like is there like a Thanksgiving dinner you get to have when you're stationed?
We did potluck at my command. So we had everybody kind of came by and we, shared food and hung out and had some fun. And then on Thanksgiving, we did a Friendsgiving at one of my coworkers' houses.
Gotcha. All right, so then this was 16, 17 months ago you started. Did you have any experience writing scripts or or
None,
teleplays?
none. I'm completely self-taught.
So how did you
It
teach? How did you
was
teach yourself?
a lot of research. I
Like
mean,
YouTube videos or
no, I read scripts. I read scripts from shows that I grew up watching. I loved procedurals, so I read scripts for Criminal Minds. I read NCIS. I read Castle and The Blacklist and all of it, and 911. I read them, and then I looked up screenwriting software, and I found Arc Studios, and I just started writing. And my first draft was mistaken as a medical drama, and we just kind of figured it out as we went. I mean, I got a lot of feedback. I submitted every single draft for feedback so that I could get that information and sort of digest it and understand what it is that I was doing wrong and what it is I could change. And in the later drafts, it came down to, you know, sort of separating what was going to elevate the script versus what was not going to help it. And learning how to sort of figure out what was going to help that script versus what feedback wasn't going to help me at all. Um, and
that's the most
learning that,
important thing right there is
oh yeah,
learning,
yeah.
yeah, what to
Because
take and what not to take.
yeah, exactly. Because everybody's biased. One person is going to tell you one thing, and another person is going to tell you another thing about your script, and you've got to decide for yourself what is going to help you and what isn't.
Yeah.
And that was probably the hardest thing that I had to do was figure it out. Because I mean, the rest of it, I knew it was going to need revisions. I come from a job where you never know everything, you always have to improve, and you're never going to be perfect. And so I had that mentality going into this. I knew I didn't know everything about screenwriting. I knew that there were going to be people that knew more than me about it. And I knew this was going to be, a job where I was constantly learning and there was something always new. So I went into it with that mentality.
Did you create a structure for yourself, like when you're going to write and how many pages every day, or
No, no, I didn't. I I have ADHD actually. So I kind of once I focus in on something, I cannot let it go. I'm like a dog with a bone. So I wrote the first draft for Priority One in 4 days.
okay.
And every revision has taken me a matter of hours to complete. That's just how I write. Once I get a story in my head, I can't really put it down until it's done. And then it's just a matter of getting feedback and revising from there. And so, yeah, it was fairly easy for me to sort of get it out.
So you got like got it down on paper, and then it's all about
Yeah.
revision, revising, I guess, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can't do anything until you have it on the paper. It doesn't matter how imperfect it is. It doesn't matter if the format's all messed up. It doesn't matter if you're missing punctuation, grammar, whatever.
Yeah.
If it's not on the page, you can't do anything with it because you don't have a story.
Well,
And so for me, that was the most important part was getting it on the page first and then worrying about sharpening it later.
that's the smartest thing you've ever done, because usually that's the beginning Phil writer's like mistake, is that like they write and edit at the same time because they're
No,
always
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
no, yeah. I don't do that. I got to get it out and then we'll figure it out from there and we'll sharpen it and get it to where I want to see it and the voice is strong.
So do you know these characters? Are they based on anybody?
Their personalities are based off of people that I've worked with, people that I grew up with, people that I knew, or know, mentors I've had, people I've mentored myself. And it's just they're a combination of all of these different fascinating and interesting people that I've had the opportunity to meet and work with over the last 7 years and even before that. So yeah, I mean, they're a mishmash of all of these different personalities, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah. And so you want to make sure that all those, like you said, the three kind of the three dispatchers, the three procedurals, they need to be balanced out, I guess. So you want to make sure that there's like an A plot, plot B plot, C plot, and like every. I know
Yes.
you're just kind of working on the pilot, but if you're thinking ahead, I guess that's sort of the structure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So there's ev- every episode is generally the same structure, right? So we have our major emergency, our
Yeah.
big thing that kicks us off. And we have another emergency that might tie into that or into a character's story in some capacity. But the through line for every episode isn't those emergencies. It's the characters' personal lives, and it's the emotional reactions to dealing with those emergencies or the accumulation of their job. And so that is kind of what brings you through. It's not about the big bang, for lack of a better term. It's not about the fire, but it's about the people going into the fire. And I specifically invested in that because an audience doesn't invest in the emergencies, they invest in the people.
Yeah. 100%. And so yeah, everybody, yeah. So that's like, because then there's a difference between someone going into a firefighter going to a fire example. Oh, there he goes. There goes that firefighter. But then having a
Yeah,
backstory and then getting emotionally engaged into that firefighter, and then all of a sudden he goes into the fire. The audience is emotion is completely different now, right? Like they're like,
right.
oh, I hope he's okay, blah blah blah, right? So yeah, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, and that's how I've always been as the audience. I try to look at it from both
Yeah,
perspectives, right? I have been the audience member and I can't connect with a show if I can't connect with at least one character. If I can't emotionally invest in at least one of them,
yeah,
I can't sit there and watch it. And so I try to make sure that there is somebody that somebody can let that audience member can invest in. There's a wide range of personalities. And that's not just because, they're able to invest in a wide range of people, but also because that's how the job is. You've got people from all different backgrounds with all different personalities, all clashing, trying to do this job together.
So what was your favorite shows growing up?
Criminal Minds and NCIS and Castle probably growing up. The first procedural drama that I ever watched was NCIS when I was 9 years old, which was probably not exactly age appropriate at the
I think
time,
it's still
but
on now, isn't it?
it
So
is. It is. It's
yeah.
still
So
on.
you kind of just age yourself so I could figure out the math and then yeah.
Yeah. But that
So
was that was the first show I ever watched. My grandfather put it on while he was babysitting us one day.
and you liked it. So yeah, but that has a great that has a very like distinct structure, right? That show,
Oh
right?
yeah.
With spin-offs and everything, right?
Oh,
And
for
then
sure.
what was the other so you had Criminal Minds and then you had
Yep.
Criminal Minds, yeah.
Castle.
Is Criminal Minds still on? That's
It
still
is. It
yeah,
is.
it's
It
still
was
on too.
canceled, and then a year later, there was so many riots that they brought it back.
Yeah.
It's on Paramount now.
Yeah, that's what I think I saw it on. So, but
Yep.
let me ask you then, because it's like it's almost like a throwback script in
Yeah.
many ways, where I don't see this often, right, from pilots because people are kind of trying to write the next Breaking Bad or whatever, for example.
Oh, yeah.
But you're like going old school.
I want to because procedurals, where we are right now, procedurals are sort of the cornerstone. They're not going to win the awards. They're
They
not, going
did.
to get the accolades.
It kind of
The
did win
pit,
the
yeah, the
award this
pit
year,
did
right?
very well. But
Yeah.
it's it's not like I guess it's not going to be the sort of Emmy
No, no, no.
darling, right?
This was kind of an anomaly. Like it had a
Yeah,
structure where it was like kind of like 24, where it was like
yeah.
hour by hour, but it was a procedural, and they
It
won. So
was, yes, yeah, yeah.
it
They
taught
they
me
did
a lot,
incredible.
but it taught
But
me a lot that people wanted that. People want those shows.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So it wasn't it they weren't like built for that, right?
yeah.
They were built for longevity and to be franchises. These are shows that are supposed to be legacy, and that's what they're about. They're generational. So what my grandfather watches and what my dad watches, I started watching, and it's still on today. And one day my kids might start watching it. And that is what
It
a
is interesting.
procedural
Yeah,
is. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
because you got the CSI, right, which
yeah,
started like 20. Then you got like you mentioned NCIS. Then the 9/11 shows, right?
yep,
Nine
yep,
eleven
911,
New Orleans, 9/11 Austin, whatever, right? So,
yep,
and then you got the what was the one? There was another one.
the rookie,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, right?
yeah,
It's those the Chicago shows, right?
yeah,
The NBC Chicago shows, which are like they spinned off into different versions of
yeah,
themselves, right?
yeah. I mean, these shows are about the audience. I mean, they're made for audience engagement. They're not, like Prestige,
Yeah,
where it's about the story really so much as where procedurals are about the characters.
yeah,
And you grow up with these characters. You learn about them as you learn about yourself. I started watching 911 when I was 18, when it first aired. And I loved, Bobby Nash. That was my favorite character. And I could sympathize with him, but I could not empathize with him as a character. And a year later, I suddenly could empathize with him. And I grew as a person with that
yeah.
character. And that's what draws audiences in with them.
What about a military procedural?
I wrote a pilot episode for a military show.
Yeah, you too
It's
close to it
a
now. Like, are you like? Is it too? Got to have some separation, maybe.
it's a dark military comedy. It's a
Yeah.
half hour. But yeah, it's funny. It's dark funny. Like military humor funny. It's about these service members who all died in ridiculous ways, and the government, being how they are, accidentally revived them as opposed to these SWIC guys that they were supposed to, and now they're stuck in eternal active service as these undead soldiers. And they get sent on these black op missions that they're wildly unqualified for, and the only reason that they can even finish them is because they can't die
They
again.
died. That's a pretty good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always joke that,
Like
this is
military
never going to
supernatural.
end. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it started off of a joke that we make, where, you get to hell and the one MC goes cleaning stations. You're like, I knew it.
Okay. No, that's a good, yeah. So then, no, because there is something to it, I guess, right? There is like, because there's something distant. There's a distance from with the military from the common people like myself who
Yeah.
never entered there,
It
right?
it
Like we,
is very much a different culture. It's a subculture for
yeah,
lack of a better term. I mean, we have different ways that we talk. We have different customs and courtesies and
yeah,
history. So, it's not, especially when you join right at 18, you grow up in this as an adult. It's very difficult to reintegrate because you're separated from this completely other society.
yeah, totally. And it happens all like that's what they do. They recruit, right? You got recruited,
Yep. Yeah,
right?
well, I recruited myself, really.
You get what I'm saying is that you get
Yeah.
like healthcare and then you get free education after you finish, right?
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people join for that reason.
Yeah.
I joined just because I come from a long line of military, with the exception of my father.
Okay.
So it was a point of pride for me. But yeah, a lot of people join for education or to travel or health insurance or what be it. So yeah, it is. You get recruited into this, and you might not know really what it is you're getting yourself into.
I'm sure you don't, right? So, okay, so I do this, I do a podcast probably every day, and I talk to a lot of military veterans, filmmakers, screenwriters. Two podcasts ago, I talked to a veteran. So, like I'm telling you, like I talk to, there's like lawyers, like lawyers, advertising executives or advertising creative people and military. Those are the top three people, like other than people who kind of ventured into the film industry, like
Right.
myself, and that's my world. That's people who kind of this is their second career. So why do you think there's so many people who are military veterans or military still serving like yourself who get into filmmaking, get into screenwriting?
It's it's an outlet, right? And it's an outlet that you can't be judged on, essentially. You know, it is a way to sort of take all of the things that you've experienced, the good, the bad, the ugly, and put those on paper and get them out of your own head. Um, and at least for me, there's been a lot of times where, I've experienced stuff that I probably would never have talked about, but I'm able to put that out in my scripts, and it gives me sort of a way to get them out of my head. And I think that might be the same for a lot of people. It's an outlet.
Gotcha. Yeah, what I guess what people have told me is that they have a point of view, right? They have an
Yeah.
interesting, unique point of view because they've seen a lot. Like it's amazing that you're in Sicily right now. You're talking to me like when in any other world, how were you able to get to Sicily? Except for what you do for a living now, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, except if you maybe traveled there, right? But basically,
Right.
but you don't. But the other one is that structure. There's a certain structure that they like
Oh yeah.
about film and like because that's what you're kind of you. It's a very structured
Yeah.
rural
I mean,
environment that you work.
there's
Yeah,
a hierarchy in filmmaking the same way there is in the
100%. Yeah,
military. And
yeah,
so, that kind of, it makes the transition certainly easier because you're
yeah,
used to it already.
yeah. But you need, but you can go rogue on a film set supposedly
Yeah.
and not get punished. But I'm assuming if you go rogue, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah, no, we just don't talk about it,
Yeah. All right.
You just like, Chief,
Yeah.
I need you to go walk into the other room while I go do this thing, please.
Yeah, because yeah, usually like on TV shows or whatever, like speaking of 24, Jack Bauer goes rogue 20,
Oh yeah.
like, but he gets awarded at the end, right? But I guess that wouldn't happen in the real world.
No, no, it's silent accomplishment, it's
Yeah,
plausible deniability.
yeah,
They're gonna pat you on the back and go, I don't want to know how you got it done, but thank you for getting it done.
gotcha. Well, there that's part of it. So yeah, there's that too. Yeah, so it's interesting. So congratulations on the success so far. Like that's amazing that it's only been 16 months. Look how far you've gone. So I'm assuming you want to get to the next level, but then while you serve. So are you do you have a like a because you just told me your structure in the next like 2 years of your life. Do you have like do you know what you're going to be in 5 years? Do you going to
Uh,
stay in or you know
so when I get out or when I go
choose
to
to get out?
Chicago,
Yeah.
yeah, when I get to Chicago, towards the end of my orders there, I will be at 11 years in.
Wow.
So I'll be at the end of my contract at that point, which is a re-enlist or get out. And it's kind of last point in which you can get out and not be an idiot for not just staying in and getting your pension.
Yeah.
So it honestly, it'll depend on where I'm at screenwriting wise and
Gotcha.
where the economy is at as well. I'm not one to you know, I take risks, don't get me wrong, and I'm more than willing to invest in myself, but I'm also smart about it.
Maybe because it's a rough time right now in the industry, so
Oh
maybe
yeah.
it will be like it always
Yeah.
picks itself back up. History has shown
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the
So
entertainment industry always eventually kind of figures. Even the music industry figured itself out
oh yeah.
after the
So
decline.
it'll depend on where the industry's at that
Yeah.
point. I mean, that's in about 5 years, and then where I'm at in my screenwriting career and where the economy is at, and weighing all of those things to decide whether it's going to be more beneficial to stay in and continue working on it on the side, or to go full in and sort of make that my primary
You're going to
career.
go to school, do you think, or
Uh, it, I had thought about it, but I'm at the point where it's not really going to be as beneficial unless I pursue something other than screenwriting, right? If I decided to pursue directing or
yeah?
something along those lines, it would make sense. But screenwriting specifically, no, I won't end up pursuing a
No, I
degree
just
for
I
that.
just meant school, like an
Yeah,
education
no,
or
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah,
yeah.
because it's free, right? Yeah.
Possibly a trades job, in electrician.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, no.
that's what I do already.
No, get into
That's
the
been
yeah.
all of my training.
Not to be down on people who are electricians. Like I just
No.
like yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you something. It might be divine intervention for you that you're going to land in Chicago. Very, very creative city, very talented people there.
Oh yeah.
A lot going on in that city as well. And that's what I was just saying because it's really got great schools as well. So,
Oh
anyways,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
you're
no,
gonna have a lot of opportunities there. So,
for
trust me.
sure.
All right. On that note, congratulations on the success of the script so far, and let's talk again, hopefully.
I appreciate it. I look forward to it.
See you.